Welcome, everybody. This is Ryan, and I am back with Matt Wolach for part two. Matt is the CEO of XSellus. He does specific coaching for founder-led sales and help them transition out of founder-led sales as well, specifically in areas like closing, demos. One of the things that we're going to talk about too that he does a great job at is lead gen. And so, Matt, welcome. Happy to have you back on for part two, man.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. This is so much fun. I love talking this stuff with you, with the way you think and how you approach stuff. It's just super awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. You as well. It's great to appreciate another craftsman in the space, if you will, right? A grizzled veteran on top of it.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. I think one of the things that we were talking about before as we are getting ready for the show is just lead gen and kind of how it works, challenges people have. I think I would love to bring that offline conversation to share with everybody. So what's your take on that? And what do you see are the biggest challenges with companies today, specifically in SaaS? Doesn't have to be SaaS, but with lead gen, what are the most common problems you're seeing?
Yeah, great point. I think most problems in lead gen always go back right to the very beginning at where we don't truly understand our ICP, our ideal customer profile. If we don't know exactly the person that we're trying to sell to and in terms of lead gen market to, if we don't understand what keeps them up at night, what they're worried about, what they hate, what they love, what they're trying to do, it's going to be really hard to convince that person to take steps, to take action, to book a call. So we need to get really good at that. That's why week one, right away, when my clients start with me, we focus on their ICP. What is the ICP? Let's get detailed. Let's nail this down. Let's get all the way down to the nitty gritty. And let's understand that fully, because that ICP, not just with lead gen, but also it helps you build out the product towards that person. The marketing, the messaging, the sales conversations are much better when you understand that. Because I have a lot of people who come to me and they say, oh, we're trying to generate leads here and it's not working. And when we start to dive into their ICP, we realize, well, your clients aren't even there. You're posting on Facebook. Nobody's there. Like your whole market, there's no wonder it's not working, because you're spending money on these ads on a platform where you don't even have your market there. And I know this sounds basic and stupid, but it's amazing how many times it happens. And I would say also another problem, the other issue is almost the opposite issue, where they do the right thing with the right technique and everything, but not long enough. So, for example, SEO, if you do SEO for 2 weeks or a month and nothing's really happening, you're not getting any inbound leads, and it's just not generating any demos for you or something, people quit and they stop doing that. And they stop creating all this amazing blog content. And so a lot of the stuff that we see is that people are doing the right thing, just not long enough or persistent enough or consistent enough. They say, I'm going to start posting. I'm going to start posting on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter every day. And they do it for a week or two. And they get like 2 likes. And they're like, okay, well, that's not working. It takes a lot longer than that. So some of the things that we do in lead gen are going to be a much longer commitment than a few weeks or a month. And we need to stay with it. We need to get there. One of the things that happens when you stay with it is that you also get better. You start to realize what's working, what's resonating, what's making results, what's getting impressions. And you start to realize how you can improve. But it takes a long time. Like my LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. People come to my LinkedIn, they get a lot of great information. They also connect with me. They see how I can help. And I think we met there too, Ryan. But
yeah,
it took me a year to just get it to a point where I started to get some people coming to me. It takes a long time. So many times people are doing something great. It's just not long enough or persistent enough.
Well, let's talk about that. And let's talk about LinkedIn, because I think it's probably the best business network out there. And I have mixed feelings about LinkedIn. Like I love some of the things that LinkedIn has and the capabilities, right? However, like the time and how fast they change things, you could tell they're heading in a different direction. And some of that's aligned, I think, with their users. Some of that's aligned with their earnings, right? And so what's your take on it, man? I mean, you've been on the platform a long time like me. What's your take on it? Because I'm seeing, it's so funny. I'll see posts that'll blow up, but I won't see that consistent. And then I'll see posts that are really low, right? So I'll see both sides of it. I think before there used to be more consistency and reach. But I'd be curious on what your take is on that, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they're trying to fiddle with the algorithm, trying to make it fit for what their goals are internally. And I would agree. We're seeing that as well. It did used to be much more consistent. A year or two ago, you would post similar types of things and you would get about the same level of results on everything. And you're right. Every now and then you have one pop, but you really wouldn't have any that are much lower. They would all be fairly consistent. But now you're right. I think there's some that do great and some that are just complete duds, and you have no idea why. So I don't know why that's happening. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I do know that we're trying to constantly evolve, and our team is constantly tracking all of this data. Every time we post, we know exactly what happened and what the results were, and we're trying to figure out what that is that weird piece of the algorithm or what have you that can make a difference and does start to get good results, because we know there's a lot of people out there that need our help and we're just trying to reach them.
Yeah, I agree, man. And there's still some awesome things about the platform. I've met some amazing people. It's funny. I talked to one of the biggest, a member of a team of one of the biggest producers on LinkedIn that's growing the fastest right now. And like he told me like one of the insider things is like you get a 3% bump if you post organically and not through a scheduling tool. So you get like 3% more reach
Wow.
if you just manually post. So there's little things like that they change. Like that's kind of like a head scratcher. It's like, okay, why would you do that? Like what's the value in that, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, so let me ask you this: of the social media platforms for lead gen, like what are you most excited about and leaning into the most today for you and your business?
I mean, it's still LinkedIn for us. I mean, for me, if you talk to me about my coaching, I target software leaders, founders, sales leaders, executives around sales and marketing and growth. And all of those people are wanting to be on LinkedIn for their own purposes. So since they're there, they see me. But that's because I really understand my market. There are others that I work with, many of my clients, who Facebook is the best thing for them. Others, Twitter is the best thing for them. Others, YouTube is a fantastic tool for them. So it's really truly identifying, where does your market live? I have some clients that they're not on any of those, but they do go to forums online and they all talk internally in these forums, and they're sharing all kinds of stuff that's gold for my clients. So they're in those forums. And so it's really all about that, is really understanding where are they? Where are they really hanging out online, and how can we get there and get in front of them?
What kind of forums? Are you talking like Reddit? Are you talking Slack communities? What's kind of the key forum areas that come to
I
mind, or
would say
community?
even like industry specific forums, like realtor forums and
Oh,
plumber
really?
forums. Like yeah, like people are getting vertical tight on those, and you just go into these things, and if you can get in, sometimes they're pretty tough to get an invitation, but then that's where people are unloading all their problems, and it's gold. It's
Huh.
basically like a Facebook group that's not in Facebook.
Yeah. Well, are you talking Reddit though? Like, what platforms are you seeing most of them on?
No, I mean, I've even seen some on like the old school, like message board type stuff. Like some of these are old enough that
Really?
they still have, oh yeah, people are still using that. But yeah, Slack, Discord, those are more common now. And then of course, Facebook groups, like Facebook groups, if you're not in there for your industry, you're missing out. There is a lot of junk in Facebook groups. You definitely have to kind of filter through the noise. But if you can find some good groups where they're sharing good information, real people are actually posting their problems, those are great.
True. Very true. Okay. So that's good. So then, like let's change gears a little bit on the lead gen side. So I totally agree. It's like where your clients are, doing it consistent. What do you think about selecting where you focus your time, energy, and money in terms of deal size? Like how does that correlate to the different channels?
Yeah, great point. So deal size does matter, especially if you're doing anything outbound. If you're doing anything outbound, you need to understand your deal size, meaning if it's a lower deal size, you need to do something that's more automated, more mass focused, right? If you're selling 100, $200 a month type of stuff, you need to get a lot of volume. And it's really important to set up processes and sequences and automations that are going to help you get to that volume. If you're selling something that's $100,000, doing something at volume or mass is not going to give you the necessary numbers that you need to make it work. You absolutely should be much more personalized. You should spend time before reaching out to a prospect understanding what they're all about, understanding what their industry is all about, their company, or their goals themselves, or what they've done. And you're going to have a lot better success actually connecting with people when you have a truly personalized message that isn't automated. But again, you can't do that if you're selling in $100, $200 product a month, because it's just, you would spend so much time that wouldn't really make sense. We talked earlier about your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, and really knowing your LTV to CAC, which is your lifetime value, how much your customers are worth to you over the course of their life with you, versus the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, is really an important tool to know how you can market. I mean, there are 18 different marketing channels available to B2B companies, 18 different ways of doing it. And to give you an idea of how big that is, outbound is just one of those ways. And that includes emails, calls, LinkedIn DMs, Twitter DMs. All of that is just one of these marketing channels outbound. There's a lot out there. And one of the things we need to make sure of is that we're identifying the 3 to 5 for us that work really well for our industry, for our market, for our time allotment, for our budget, and do that, because you're not going to do all 18. But let's do the ones that actually fit for us. And that's where clients can really see a great uplift, is when they start to implement and optimize those 3 to 5 channels that work really well for them.
Totally agree. So what do you think about like the future of SEO? Because I know you mentioned that earlier. And what I'm talking about is specifically as it relates to a lot of search traffic getting pulled away from Google towards these large language models. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think every SEO is always going to have a place. I mean, people are always looking for. We've been trained for the last 20 years that if you have a problem, just look it up, figure it out. And so it's always going to be there. And so I think we have to figure out how we're going to evolve as it changes. Obviously, with AI, now we can create a lot more content a lot quicker. We can get our reach a lot bigger if we do it the right way. But we have to be smart about it. We don't want to just think like, oh, I just put a couple of words into some tool and it spits out a bunch of articles for me, I'm good to go, right? I think we have to be smart around that. And that's why I'm glad you're leading the way and making sure that organizations are doing it the right way, getting that scale, getting that impact, while still making sure that it's right, it's quality, it's the good thing for them. And so I think that technology is fantastic. We just can't use it blindly without fully understanding it, because I think we're going to lose. I think Google's getting smarter about that. I think other algorithms are getting smarter about that. We need to make sure that we are ahead of the curve and not just using technology hoping that, oh, that's going to be our bacon saver right there, we're good to go.
So true, man. So true. So we're just about up on time. I guess, like, looking forward, what do you see as the single biggest mistake of founders when it comes to leveraging lead gen moving forward? And then what are the biggest opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest mistake is just doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Sometimes we hear, oh, I heard about this company that did this amazing thing, I'm going to start doing that. Well, that company is 10x your size, or less than 10x lower than you. So if you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, it's not going to work. What Coca-Cola is doing right now is not going to be the thing that you need to do. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but we need to make sure it fits for us, of where we are in our life cycle, of our market, of what we can do ourselves, or the type of expertise we can bring in. And I think so many times we're making mistakes on lead gen, just thinking like, hey, I heard this was good, let's do it. And it's not the right way to do it. We need to be smarter about it. We need to plan it out. We need to be organized. And then once we have a process and a plan, things can go really well.
So true, man. So true. Well, Matt, we're up on time. Where can people find you? Where can they find more about XSellus? And then we'll wrap things up.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really active on LinkedIn. So Matt Wolach is my name, and it's MattWolach. You can also find me at mattwolach.com, where I have a lot of cool giveaways, including a scorecard. I mentioned it last time, but you can go download that scorecard and actually see how you compare to the metrics that matter and benchmarks, so that you can see what you need to fix.
Love that, man. Matt, thanks for being on the show again. It was awesome having a part 2 with you. And thanks for being on, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun, Ryan.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right. And thank you for joining me as well. And we will see you on the next episode.